We stayed at RoadRunner Travelers RV Park in Terlingua, Texas. This is the check-in. We never made the arrival list, but we did receive a confirmation email, and our space was there. The park was very clean and well landscaped. Wasn't very busy. Seems like everybody has a slow start to the season this year. They don't have any bathrooms or showers, so you have to be fully contained within your RV unit. This is the host. We never saw him during our stay. They have a dog park. It was pretty good size. They had 2 recreation areas that offered cornhole. One had a fire pit, some horseshoes, tetherball. There was this dirt road out the back where we could walk ivy for about a quarter mile. And this is our site down on this row. They had nice fire pits at each site, picnic tables. And again, the landscaping all around the edge was very nicely done. We went to Terlingua Ghost Town and stopped by the Historic Cemetery. The town grew from mining cinnabar, an ore that contains mercury, also known as quicksilver. Mining peaked during World War I with a high demand for mercury for primers for ammunition and detonators for explosives. The mine closed in 1946, leaving behind a ghost town. The old Chisos movie theater from the 1930s has reopened as the Starlight Theater, Restaurant, and Saloon, where we went to have a fine dinner and enjoy the entertainment. Sarah Burton was playing. The next day, we went to Big Bend National Park and stopped by the visitor center where we received our snake warnings. We still haven't seen any rattlesnakes, and we didn't see any of these snakes, but we did come across this tarantula crossing the road. Our first stop was the Hot Springs Historic District. This is the post office and store built in 1927, and this is the motor court where you could stay for $1 a day and use the hot springs for 25 cents per bath. On the path to the spring, you pass some petroglyphs made out of cinnabar. The bathhouse was built in 1910, but all that remains is the foundation. We arrived at 9 in the morning and had the hot springs to ourselves. On the other side of the Rio Grande in Mexico, they were selling tacos for $10, but you're not supposed to cross over to buy any. We passed the hot springs again around 1 o'clock, and they were busy with about 15 people. After our soak, we hopped in our kayak to float down the Rio Grande. The kayak's a little small for 2, so Al did most of the paddling. The water was pretty low, so we did most of the portaging as well. Where the water was deep enough, we really enjoyed the float. We passed some donkeys and horses along the way. When we got out, we hiked the Ernst Trail 3 miles back to our kayak. Luckily, when we got out, we met a ranger who gave us a drive to the beginning of the trail. It was about a mile away. The temperature was in the high 70s or low 80s, so we were fine to hike, but you have to be very careful of the temperature in the desert. There are plenty of warnings about no water and no shade. There was a nice view of the Rio Grande from the top of the ridge. The next day, we decided to cross over into Mexico, which you can do from inside the national park at the Boquillas border crossing. For a $5 fee, you get pulled across the Rio Grande.
Crossing the border.
You can also ride donkeys the quarter mile into town, but we chose to walk. Once there, you can visit vendors along the street, buy bracelets from the children selling them, or visit a local restaurant and bar. We stopped in this restaurant for a drink and then headed back to the United States. Be warned, the Fresca isn't diet as traditionally expected. It's a sugary soda here. Back at Big Bend, we stopped at the Chisos Mountain Basin, where the desert meets the alpine forest. We stopped to see the window, an opening between the mountains where you can see the valley below. The mountains were formed from volcanic activity and still contain volcanic vents and lava domes such as this one. While at Big Bend, we saw some coyotes and some roadrunners. Well, that's it for this post. See you next time.
Meep meep.